Hi, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a minute to Between Two Coaches. We're on a mission to make fitness more human. The snark is sold separately, and I'm Coach Amanda. So far, I'm not doing so bad, right, Coach Nick? For
You are
somebody that doesn't have a Word document in front of me.
you are killing it. You are word for word.
Coach Nick, fresh off the Boston Marathon. Coach Nick, why don't you announce yourself? Because I just did it for you.
You did it, Coach Nick. It's not the same. You ruined it. I'm here, but thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming back. We took a week hiatus as it was just easier for our lives because I was driving all the way from Massachusetts to Maryland in one day, and it was quite the adventure. But we're here, and it's just the two of us, and we're gonna do this thing about. I guess we're gonna do a little recap of Boston with some questions from fans and from Amanda and from people who hate me. It doesn't matter. They're all asking questions, right?
That's right.
Hmm.
Anything to make my job easier. So I wanted to crowdsource, and the people delivered on the questions for you. Um, I do want to say from the jump that you worked your ass off to be at that start line, and it is not lost on me the experience that you wanted to provide to your family and to your athletes. And I was in the corner saying, Nick, be selfish, Nick, be selfish, Nick, be selfish. But you were able to execute it all and still come out of your race with gratitude for the process and for an experience and the lessons that you got along the way. So big congratulations to Coach Nick for another successful marathon.
Well, thank you. Yeah, for me, the selfish run came at Philly in 2023 when I brought the family and rested, and we all did nothing the night before, except hunted down my wife's phone because it got lost in an Uber. But outside of that, that was like my race, and I blew up late in the race because thank you Spring Energy Gels and poorly made shoes. But that aside, this one was more about the fun and adventure. So, but
Mm,
I appreciate you.
wait a second. I knew about Spring Energy Gels. What do you mean poorly made shoes?
Oh, it's just the pair of shoes didn't seem to work for me. It was just one pair. I think I just had a bad model. Sometimes models change, and I upgraded to the newest model. Did a run in it, it felt fine. Then did my race in it, and sort of like it was pinching my toes together. I was getting this like burning sensation on the bottom of my foot. So that was just like it sucks, right? I think everyone's experienced a pair of shoes that the model has changed at some point and maybe made it a little slimmer. And for everyone else in the world, it's fine. But for someone with toes just a little bit bigger, then it's like, oh no, it's pressing on your metatarsal, and now it's like giving you this burning sensation. So it that like picked up mid rate, like mile 17, never went away, and then like the next day after the race, the pain never came back and has never come back again.
That's
Like
good.
ideally, it's the shoes because I haven't wore those shoes again, and then the Spring Energy Gels was like, I was taking them and I was like, look at me, I'm taking 60 grams per hour, and they're like, no, you're not. You're only taking 40, but you don't know this. I should do one of those reels. He doesn't know this, but he's only taking 20 grams per hour with the spray energy gels instead of 40. And he's going to die in his marathon. That's actually good. I'm going to go make that
That's
real.
good. No, you should. People would find that that's a
Hopefully, I
good
had,
one.
to, I had to make it before someone else makes it. So we have to do it tonight because people are
You
going to hear this.
I'm
Yeah.
dying. I'm dying. I had a shoe experience like that a couple of weeks ago, and I had to put it in the group chat with Carlos and Paisley. I was like, y'all, I have to tell you something. My peroneal tendon doesn't like the same shoe as you, so these bad boys are going in the box and they're going to be returned. To which Paisley said that she just like suffered in silence. She like sent me a
Oh,
photo of a bloody heel. And I was like, Paisley, you're stronger than me. Okay.
also, how do I get in this group chat? Do I have to know someone?
Yeah, there's a code.
Yeah. I feel like I know all three of the someones. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to write to the group.
I'll write it. I'll write a letter and see if I can get added. I'll write a sternly written letter to the people.
We're kind of like a co-op board, you know?
How are you doing? Amanda.
Oh, yeah, maybe not a good question. So
Amanda's
by
playing
this
hurt today.
playing hurt, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, Amanda had food poisoning.
And she's still here. This is her Jordan flu game. But now it's
Amanda,
relevant.
yes, 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 yes. Um, I have a very tough stomach, and I thought I could fuck around and find out with some beets that I think were past their prime.
Yeah.
And boy, am I past my prime when it comes to eating expired food because, whoo, I thought I got it out of me this morning. You know how some people will say, this is TMI? I don't think I've ever said that. I've
Yeah.
never once said that. I've just gone with the wind.
It's just MI.
It's
Much
just,
information. That's all I'm
I
gonna
just,
say from now on.
I just, I don't, it's never too much from us, Nick. So why would we say it? So, so yeah, so I thought I had relieved myself of the experience this morning. And to be fair, I worked. I went to work today and that's, we'll save that for Patreon, but there are a lot of very not glamorous parts of a job where 30, 40, 50, 100 people are relying on you to give their energy in a class and you wake up, you're like, I'm not sick. I know I'm not sick, but like I'm a little lightheaded. And to my knowledge, I'm not pregnant. So what's going on?
Yeah.
Right. And you kind of just, you got to go. You got to go with it because as we say, if you don't teach, you don't eat. So that's what we did today. We taught and we took care of ourselves physically. The only thing I seem to be able to get down is Rice Krispie treats, which I think is
Those are
actually
delicious.
pretty good, to be
Yeah.
honest. I'm okay with it. So I've had, but so I've an abundance of rice and Rice Krispie treats, damn delicious. And we're on the other side of it because I think the demon came out of me just a couple hours ago.
And she's here. She's doing it.
I am, and I'm so grateful for the listener support because y'all did the job for me. I have like maybe one question for Coach Nick, but you delivered. So we're
Well,
going to ask Coach Nick all the questions
all right. I will
about
have
Boston.
some of the answers.
Well, before I do that, and I know we're on a bit of a time crunch, I think I can squeeze this out of you though.
Oh, we got time.
We don't have any grievances or anything. Well,
I mean, I always
actually,
have a grievance. There's a lot going
right,
on right now,
right.
but
Oh, yes, yes, yes. But I think that some grievances may be baked into the Boston Marathon
oh,
experience.
that's exciting.
Oh. So before we dive into questions, do you want to share your brief and spectacular TLDR for when you hit that finish line? What were like three thoughts you had about your Boston Marathon experience?
Oh, of course. That'd be fun. This is my third time doing Boston, but it's been like 8 years. Things I don't remember from the course, but it was really fun coming down. You making your little way up Hereford to Boylston is iconic. And I was looking for my family because they said they'd be on the left side of the road. Spoiler: they were not on the left side of the road. They were on a
You
different
can't
street.
trust anyone. You
They were on,
cannot.
they were on a different street. But we did pass my athlete Chris's family, so they waved. So I found someone. So that was good. The finish, it was exciting. It was fun running down. A lot of phones out. That was not an experience from 2017. I did bring my phone this time for reasons of getting with my family afterwards and other things. But I only took it out like once for the Scream Tunnel. But like very near the end, everyone had their phone out and it was like trying to dodge phones to get to the finish line. But that's okay. People are really excited about it. My feelings were I was happy to have made it. It got a little rough for a lot of reasons I'll explain. Um, it was great to be there with my athletes. We worked together at times. We stopped talking as much late, but we both made it. He was struggling a little bit too, but we it was a lot of gratitude to be able to do the race, to be able to bring the whole family up. It happened to be spring break, and that was super cool that the family got to come, even though they didn't see me finish. That's okay. My daughter asked if she could run the last like 200 meters with me, and I was like, I think we might get arrested. Also, I don't know how to even get to you, but maybe. Um, so we didn't have to cross that bridge because we didn't find each other. Um,
She
so
specifically asked about the last 200 meters, or did
she said she
you?
wanted to run the end with me,
Oh, the
but
end. Okay.
yeah, I think because like when we did Philly, it wasn't really as like it's a little more open near the end. So like you could actually come on the course when she saw me, and like I gave her a hug halfway through the race. So like it's not really a. There's parts of Boston you can do that, but like not near the
Yeah,
end.
no, especially because there are arms extended from people's bodies in different
Yeah.
directions. So, I mean,
Um,
your daughter should have been allowed on the course if they're allowed to record mile one, mile
yeah.
two, mile three.
I know. That's okay. And there's a lot of gratitude for that. It was excitement to get my athlete across the finish line. He got his 6 star, and he was really excited about that. That was a big journey for him, and it was just a love of the sport. I for whatever everyone else was doing, for me, it's still fun to be able to do a marathon on some pretty sus training. Not many reasons. This was not me saying I can go raw dog a marathon. I'm not that naive in my life. Uh, Things didn't happen the way I wanted to this training block, including a lot of things at work that impacted my ability to do things. But I did enough to feel like I could finish, and just feeling happy that my body can make it there. So those are my moments. I love it. And no matter what, like every finish line is worth celebrating because you never know when it will be your last.
Yes. Ooh, the way that hits. Well said, Coach Nick.
Well, thanks.
Let's get into the listener questions, shall we?
Yes, I am so ready to half answer some of these.
Okay, I think that, and some are real, some are fake questions, because for context, I kind of made some fake news and told everyone you ran it in an hour 14 minutes when I was pitching this question.
Yeah, the people aren't
So,
gonna like that.
mind you, there were one or two people who wouldn't know a marathon if they saw it, like they have never run one in their lives, and they responded in the box and they said he ran it in an hour 14, and they asked with such
Aw,
pure curiosity. I feel like I owe them something, but I'm just gonna let it I'm just gonna let it simmer, let them think that, as Mel
okay.
Robbins once stole, let them. All right, sorry. We lost a listener and it's Mel Robbins. Okay.
Sorry, Mel.
Let's all right, first question. This one comes from Jay Hickey Runs,
All right.
fan of the pod. Most overrated or overstated part of the experience, and what unexpected joy did you find running it? Could be a sign, a person you met, not having your bus get lost. He also wants to say congratulations. Those are two great
Thanks.
questions.
Those are great questions. So one of the things I always look forward to, because last time I ran, this happened, is there's a iconic sign that shows up every time in Boston, for me at least as a sports fan, where it says Atlanta 28, New England 3. And even though the game was, I don't know, 10 years ago when the Patriots came back and beat the Falcons Super Bowl, I always look forward to that sign out there. And I was like telling my athlete, we're definitely going to see it. And he was like, no, it's been too long. And lo and behold, around mile 15, we look over and there's the sign. And I pointed at. So that's fun. The scream tunnel is always amazing. It's very loud. It's fun. There's a biker bar early on in the race that I always love. It's like mile 2, and there's just these people out there, and they're just having a great time at 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning when you come by, or 11, and we're just like offering you drinks already, and you're like, well, maybe later. It's only mile 2. Um, yeah, I love like the race itself. I love the city, the way it shows up. It's I put a little thing on Threads where I said Boston is like the iconic marathon. Like the city shows up, and like fans are out, and a lot of New Yorkers somehow found my thread. I think they weren't happy because there's always a Boston, New York thing, thinking I was insulting New York City Marathon. I really wasn't, as much as just saying New York is so big that the marathon, yes, most of the city knows it's happening, but New York can do multiple things at once. Like that's the thing that's iconic about New York City. You can have like 5 different events going on, and no one would even know they're all going on because the city can handle it. While Boston, they can only do the marathon, and also it's Patriots Day, and also everyone, the whole state is off, and literally out there cheering for you. So like I when I talk about Boston and how everyone in the city knows we went on a duck tour and people are like, it's the marathon this weekend. They're like it's part of the conversation. They're talking to you. Every single restaurant or bar you go out to the race, they're talking to you about Boston, asking you about your race. You can go in New York and no one would even know the marathon happened or care to ask you. So that's what I find cool about Boston. Overrated part, Newbury Street. I don't Newbury Street's the street where everyone does their pop-ups. So I guess what happened is no one really goes to the expo anymore, and everyone just does their own pop up shop on Newbury Street, and that's where all 800,003 shakeout runs happen, and every store and everything. And I stayed away from the street, honestly. It's not my vibe. I don't need all of that before I race. I don't. None of that really excites me before I race. I want to see my people. I want to hang out with my family. I want to get some food and I want to relax and do fun things with my people, right? So I stay away from that street as much as I can. Anytime I've been there since it's become the big mecca street of the race.
Yeah, that sounds terrible to me.
Yeah.
That street. Uh, from what I've heard, it's a lot of people, it's a scene, it's a spectacle, it's a photo op,
Yep.
and there are people who really thrive in that and they have FOMO if they're not a part of that. I have the opposite of FOMO for that. So I get you. Um, and I just wanted to, as the resident New Yorker here, I'm just gonna defend the people for something. One thing about New Yorkers is we will find a way to insert ourselves into the conversation and remind you of how elite we are. Take no offense to it, dear Coach Nick. Yeah, that sounds incredible. Very, I like that you started with your unexpected joy. Is it the same the same guy who
I
holds
don't
that
actually
sign?
know. At this point, I don't know if it's the same guy. I feel like it could be, it couldn't be. But I always
Passed
look
down
forward.
from generation.
I just look forward to that sign because it's such a fun. Like, the first right after it happened, like I think the Super Bowl happened in February that year, and then the Boston Marathon was 2 months later, and that sign showed up. And ever since then, every year I think people have like mentioned the signs there, and I'm just like every year I'm gonna look for it until like we stop showing it. But it's like it's just a funny sign. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it means a lot to Massachusetts people.
Right. So I guess that leads us into our next little question.
Oh,
And you can say a couple that you liked if you have any recollection from friend of the pod, Night Fit. Best and worst signs you saw. So best sign, we know you like that sign. Is that the best sign?
that's not the best. So there was a lot of power up signs from little kids. So I hit all of those. I high fived as many kids as I could, and then realized that I probably needed to hand sanitize my hand at some point because I was definitely going to get sick. Um, God, there's a sign from the screen tunnel that was pretty. I can't remember. So I had to. I can't remember it, but it was a really good one from the screen tunnel. I really liked. What
The
was
thing
one?
about a marathon is if you're listening to this and you've never ran one, you pretty much black out for as a way to survive.
You don't
So,
remember the signs as much. It's
right.
hard. But I did. I always like that 28-3 sign. I love the power up signs. Hit them all. Those would probably be my favorite. Um, None that I hated. None that was like ew. Like this whole controversy around what Nike did at London, and maybe they should hire a more diverse campaign crew.
Yes.
But nothing there that stood out as like, oh, that doesn't mean what you think it means, or that this was a bad choice. I didn't say any of that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, good. All right. So let's move it along to. I'm taking all the serious questions first, by the
All
way.
right.
Next one. How from Michelle Cubs. How did another friend of the pod and the Patreon?
And a Patreon. Yeah.
she's our Patreon princess. How did he feel towards the end of the marathon, and what was his pre-race dinner meal?
Oh, good call. Pre-race dinner, I had some pappardelle. Pappardelle? I never pronounce it right. Those thick noodles that are delicious. I had some of that with a bolognese sauce. We had some nice bread. We dipped in some burrata, and then I ate tons of French fries because that's what my daughter eats. She got 3 servings for dinner and didn't finish them all. So had some of
At
those.
once.
Well, she would know. She would get like she'd finish and she's like, more, please. And this was like an Italian place that didn't even have French fries or like think we should, but she's like loves them. And we probably went back. She would like order them all the time. They were pretty good actually for a place that should have no reason to make French fries. Um, so
Is
that
the fry, this is an important question.
yeah.
If you're listening to this and you grew up on diners, you know what I'm about to ask. Is it the thick steak cut
No,
fry?
it's the small shoestring
Oh,
style.
I don't need
She
a
likes those. The
daughter.
thick ones.
Okay, all
She would
right.
like the thick ones. She would be like, "Ew." What was the other part? Oh, how did I feel late in the race? Terrible. A lot of factors, right? I'll talk about this experience. One of the things I walked away from this was I started in wave 4, the last wave with my athlete. As someone who has been lucky and has some genetic ability, I've mostly run. I was even qualified here in wave 1. I think it was corral 5. I've started as high as wave 1, corral 2. Always usually in wave 1 or near the start line in my races. My athlete was in wave 4. So I said I'd run with him, and we can't bring him up to my wave. So we went back to his wave, and I learned a lot of like what it's like to be someone in wave 4 in a race that starts at 10, but you start 11:20 or 11:15. We showed up at the bus area at like 8:55. Usually, when I get to wave 1, you can just run right up to the bus. There's no one there. There's no line. Free, come in wherever you want. There's no like stopping you. But when you're wave 4, they're holding you up because wave 3 isn't done yet, and wave 2 is probably not done yet, and they're still all getting on the bus. So we sat there and waited. They finally let us in. We tried to go to the bathroom real quick, and then we had to wait in line to get into the area to then wait in the line to get in the bus. The bus didn't leave until like maybe 10. We got to the start at we got to the when we got to the village, they had already called our wave to walk down. So we're like kind of rushing down, and we walk down the street, and then everyone's backed up on the street because when we get to the bottom of the street, the previous wave hasn't gone off yet. Again, these are all things that as wave 1, there is no previous wave. So I've never sort of experienced this like standing in chaotic people. I'm trying to get to this bathroom. You can't. We get to the bathroom. We walk up to the race. Now it's about to start because they're starting 11:15, whether you get there or not. So we literally walked into our corral after the race had already started, and we're like just in time to get our corral to start line. And then the other problem with Boston is no matter what corral you're in, if you're a little far back, you sort of get stuck behind people. It's like 8 to 10 waves, or sorry, 8 to 10 corrals in one wave, and 8,000 people per wave. About so things think like 800 people per corral. So if you're like corral 3, 2,400 people are around you in some shape or form. And in wave 4, they didn't really organize people like in other waves. They're organized by your time, your qualifying time. So ideally, the wave and people in front of you in a crowd would be going faster than you. In wave 4, that was not happening. I think it was some sort of, I don't understand the system, but so we started and immediately started running, and like maybe 200 meters, 400 meters in, people already started walking, like not just like walk, like stopped in front of us and walked. We got stuck behind this pack going probably 90 seconds slower than we wanted to go for about 5 miles. We did everything but like run through the woods because I was like, I'm not going to go turn my ankle to get around people. We'll just kind of deal. But like it was a lot of like, I felt like a running back trying to hit holes. I would like cut through, like, cut here, okay, swerve here and go across. So we were running so much extra. We were trying not to overdo it, but we were just like, our first mile was 8:50. He wanted to run like 7:30 pace. And it's okay to go a little slow, but like our second mile was 8:49. And we were like, all right, like we're not able to run the pace we want to. So we have to kind of
Pivot.
navigate. And so the second 5K of the race was much, much faster. We were doing a lot of moving around. Also, in the last wave, we learned it gets hotter because it's later out. So it was like mile 7 when we got out there and I started feeling the heat a lot on my body, right? Not like I was sweating more than I needed to. I had arm warmers on because it was supposed to be like 50. And then I had to take those off. I had to take my headband off as the race went on. I was just getting real hot. I was taking as much Gatorade as I could, um, but also anticipating different temperatures. So all this long story to say that extra running, trying to catch people. Oh, and the last part of wave 4 is you catch every other wave if you go too fast. So you're never alone. Like in wave 1, if you can run fast enough, you don't have a lot of people around you. In wave 4, if you run fast enough, you're rewarded with catching wave 3. And as the race goes on, then you're rewarded with catching wave 2. So we're always having, like, there was always people all around us where we couldn't really have that much of the road to ourselves, run the tangents. All this long story to say, I experienced what it's like to be in a lesser wave. I never had that experience. I've always been able to run every tangent I want to in a race. If the road's going left, just move my body over there, not like literally have to shove people out of the way if I wanted to do that, or not be able to run the race you want, or always have people around you. So a lot of like a new experience, right? And I appreciate it because I have runners who run in all the waves, and now as a coach, I have a little more empathy and experience to be like, hey, I get it. Um, all that to say that early running, the hot sun, running around, running too slow, and trying to pick it up. By like mile 17th, I was more dead than I needed to be, and I really kind of suffered through the hills. And then the last 3 miles were pretty rough. I am proud of myself to say I didn't stop. Like there were times where I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And I just, I just powered through and just kept running up the hills and then down the hills and just felt the best I could, but I didn't feel great. I took in all the gels I could though. Every 5K, I was taking in about 40 grams, so I was pretty good there.
It's
But
amazing.
pretty dead to
So
for
would
many
you
reasons.
say that's another question, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, good.
So Nicole Realtors ATX are one of my athletes and
Oh.
friend of the bud. How did you feel during where did it get super tough? Would you say that you mentioned mile 7, you mentioned mile 17, you would say it really hit you in the pain cave at around mile 17 mentally?
Yeah, mile 17, it just got a little harder to run. Uh, I was feeling a lot. I'm also going to do some blood work post race, honestly, anyway. But I was feeling my heart rate go really high going uphill at a pace that it shouldn't. So, like, I had to sort of taper that because if I kept pushing up this hill like too fast, I was going to go well in the wrong zone and I probably wasn't going to make the finish line. So the uphills were really, really getting me, which usually isn't the case. So something was off. But that's when it really started hurting, and feeling terrible. And then 23, we stopped to pee. And you honestly never feel great after you stop that late in a race to pee. So the last, 5K was like, we're making it, but this isn't pretty.
Heard. Okay. Let's move down to the next question. And this one's a little bit about technique, um, because of the hills at Boston. Caroline Hausler asks how you ran down hills efficiently.
Oh, um, love it. So downhills were the most efficient thing I was doing. Um, I I'm relatively tall, so downhills are like uh, exciting for me because I can sort of open up my stride. I can sort of roll without really having to use as much energy, because longer legs, longer stride length. I treat even when I felt crappy, every hill I treated it like, let me get to the top, run 10 more steps, and then get sort of rolling to the downhill because most of the hills in Boston are met with a subsequent downhill not too far afterwards. So my technique was sort of, a little longer stride, not really hammering it, but I felt so bad going up the hill that like the downhill started becoming like, well, this is going to help me get to the finish line. Because I actually feel good on the downhill. It was really just the uphill sort of like giving me a lot of issues.
Hmm. What Coach Nick said is super important. Rolling with it is key when you're running downhill. And when we're coaching runners on races that have hills, I will incorporate hill strides, but definitely depending on the course, even downhill strides. And that's a great way for you to practice rolling down the hill, not literally, but with your feet
But
and your
figuratively.
figuratively. Yes, yes. So that's a great question. Let's see. Anything else? All right. Now for some
Oh,
semi serious.
semi-serious.
Actually, before we get in, they're not semi serious. I wanted to I wanted to ask, this is an Amanda Katz question
Oh,
or maybe an observation. Do you feel as though, not specific to Boston, but the world majors and those that are major adjacent are becoming less about the runner's experience and more an influencer event?
um, I don't know. It's hard. So I don't think it's an influencer event yet. I think what the world majors bring is a lot of people. And a lot of money goes into the world majors. They literally have a 6-star program that will cost you probably, someone's done the math,
Six figures.
$25,000 probably when you're said and done to do them all. That's on the cheap. Thinking if you live in America, at least, you got to fly to Tokyo, you got to fly to Berlin, you got to fly to London, you got to stay there, you got to go to New York City. It's not cheap unless you live there. So, assuming you don't live in a major city and you have to go to them, you're going to spend a lot of money to get this 6-star race entries, food, a survival training. So there's a lot of money involved in world majors. Adidas sends out countless people's. There was some event that happened at the track where a bunch of brands and track clubs ran a marathon relay. um so it's like, and that has nothing to do with the marathon. They're just there for an event, and someone's paying someone to do this thing, and people are going to watch. And again, it's people are there was many. Puma had shops up there with like daily, people had a daily press conference, not press conference, but like a daily dive of information every day. All everyone's putting a lot of money into the world majors. Boston especially, because I don't know if Chicago gets, as someone who goes to Chicago a bunch, it doesn't seem to get the same love that Boston does or New York City. They don't have as much pop-ups. But to answer your question, yes, a lot of influencers, people of in the running business, people of running, who have an audience in the running community are definitely heavily invited to these events, whether to run through the brand or just to be there or to participate in something. And so it's bringing a lot of people there because they want to bring more eyes on it, because they want more signups. And it's clearly working. I mean, look how many people signed up for New York City Marathon. Look how many people signed up for London. So people are very willing to throw $400 at a race entry and lots of money to stay in New York City or fly to London. So either they want to see their favorite people in the running world or go to an event or just be a part of the experience. So I wouldn't I don't say it's a full-on influencer event, because there are many people in Boston who just want to experience Boston and just want to run the marathon and run fast and do this thing for the first time. And Boston especially is an aspiration for lots of runners because you qualify for it versus, oh well, I just hit my name in the lottery and get lucky. So there's a Boston especially. There's still a lot of pride to this is something I've always wanted to do. Is the qualification system and everything involved in it right? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that, and I'm not gonna think I do. But to answer about the world majors, they are becoming a lot of that. But there's a lot of money that people want to throw in this sport and these events, and that's where it's going. What are your
And I
thoughts?
think, no, I think it's my I think that that's what is a wonderful thing, and I think more exposure to the sport is a wonderful thing. And I just want it to not take away from the experience that so many runners work 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, years of their lives getting to these start lines for. So I definitely agree that they're not full fledged yet. but they start to look like that. And I think my personal and professional opinion are a little different. I want the people who work with me to the majority of people who work with me really love the world majors, and I want them to have that experience. So anytime there's an opportunity for them to have a bib, or they can raise money for a charity, I'll help them find that. I'll help them find a place to stay and what they should look out for. But my personal opinion is that it's just a bit it's a bit too much.
Yeah, I what I would say is what I would wish would happen is, and it will never happen, but like instead of the same people getting the same rewards every year from the same brands, always coming
Yep.
out, same people, getting to, having people do 2 marathons in a week, the same person. Like maybe if I would love more if the brands spread out. There's
Yep.
plenty of influential people in running. I'm not saying me, but I'm saying lots of people in running who could get opportunities. Don't give it to the same people every time. Like spread out the love, let others get an opportunity. Don't do it as like we're giving you this lucky opportunity. Just give the people what they deserve for working hard as a runner or influencer, right? That's what I wish. It's just the same people who seem to get the same thing every time, and I'm like, okay, you're here every year doing the same thing with the same company. Like, let's share the love.
Yes, cosign, and you are influential, so let's put that to rest. Speaking of rest, we have a couple of very funny questions.
Oh, good.
You already kind of identified some of the best parts, but this specific account called Hello, Yes, This is Treg asked what was the best part and why was it seeing Treg?
Well, it was up there. Seeing Treg was one of the
Oh,
best parts. We did breakfast together with Treg, and we did a coach's like little pre-race call, and the kids know Treg now, so every time they see her, they run up. The girls even somehow they didn't find me after the race, but they found Treg, and then my youngest Amelia runs up and gives her a hug in the middle of Boston, like thousands of people around, and somehow she notices her. So love that. Love Treg. Best part of Boston, my shakeout run. Like most of my athletes came out. We ran around the Charles. And that was super fun. Spending time with my family. Honestly, we did a duck tour. My daughter got to drive the little duck boat in the water. So that was super fun, and we played around the museum. Really, just they were generally excited to be at my race, and that's like super rewarding as a parent because, like, I know I don't always get that experience where your kids are like super excited about you. Most times, a parent, you're super excited about them. So to like have them be here and like meet some of my athletes and like root for them just felt like super cool, and I'm like super grateful to have that experience and have them there. So that was probably that was probably my favorite part, just spending a lot of time with them, but also getting to do this race and getting to see people and experience Boston.
cool. And the last two, we're gonna pair them because I know these two men quite well and they won't mind.
Oh,
We
good.
have we have running in Stash and run coach CP, and they kind of have a similar question. They want to know first, running in Stash wants to know what magic pill you took to break the world record by over 30 minutes.
Yep.
And run coach CP wants to know how many night before cocktails powered that run.
No. Well, the night before cocktails are really just part of my carbo load. When I build out my plan, I build in an Aperol spritz or a Negroni or something like that because there's, calories and some sodium and things like that. So like that's just, when I build out my whole plan, it includes those drinks. I wouldn't get to my numbers without those drinks. So those drinks are just helpful. Liquid carbs. And then what magic pill? I really just took the subway. Not the subway, the Mark. There's a story about some woman who won the Boston Marathon, and I've forgotten her name now, and someone's gonna know it immediately. But where she like won the race and took like I guess it's not the Mark up there, whatever
The
their
green line?
yeah, whatever their transit system is, and like she skipped a lot of the race. She finished. She like won by a long time, broke the record. Everyone gave her a award. Then they found out later that no, there's no pictures of her, and they're like, "You didn't win."
What do they
Um,
call that mental health condition? Oh my god,
I don't
it's
know, but
terrible.
yeah, that was the story. I've forgotten the name. I should know it.
I remember that story that when it came out, I'm like, "What is how did we get to this place?" How did
But yeah, I did not run 1 hour and 14 minutes. I did not. I never
Yeah,
have.
okay.
I can do that for a half maybe.
That's,
My
well,
old
that's,
days. My old days.
as
Um,
we say, that's very fucking fast, Coach Nick.
Thanks.
It's very fast. Yeah, I feel as though I need to put a disclaimer on this podcast after you just went. There's if you are listening to this and you choose to drink alcohol, have at it. But I'm going to professionally say that there's really nothing good that comes out of adding alcohol to your marathon experience. Specifically on the course. I would say maybe on the course it's just not a good idea.
I
You
did not
want to
drink them on the course.
prioritize, yeah, you
Yeah.
want to prioritize other things. That's all I'm going to say there.
Yeah, I didn't partake on the course. Um, but I
Yeah,
did
you
have a
did.
PR cocktail, a carbo load cocktail.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
Those were the questions.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, that's where we're at, my friend.
Yeah. I guess I would
And
just say, oh, go ahead.
no, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have any
Oh,
final words about your Boston 2025 experience?
well, I do. Thanks for asking. I think what I want to say is, my favorite experience, my summing up the whole thing, it was fun to wear three hats. I was a dad, was a coach, and I was an athlete. And like I haven't really done all three at a race. When I did Philly, I was just my kids were there and I didn't have any athletes running. I've been to other races with my athletes too, but never my kids. So it was the first time kind of doing all three. Um I really loved it. It wasn't a goal race, so it changes a tiny bit, but I I loved having all those different experiences at the same time, right? And like they're all important parts of my life. And like I know lots of people questioned, they're not questioned, they're like, oh my God, you brought your kids. That's so hard. And it is not easy. It's great with a great support system. My wife was super helpful, but like they're still complaining we're walking too far. We're walking, 6 blocks because they want to Uber, and I'm like, that's not a thing in this. We're not getting an Uber for 6 blocks. We would never find one, and also the streets are blocked. But like just understanding they can't do all the things, and like we're walking around, and Saturday was super hot, and like had to make sure to build in stuff for them, like stop and get donuts, or there's a rock climbing wall, or little experiences like that. And Sunday again, I did my stuff in the morning, did my shakeout, hung out with my athlete Emily, and then we did stuff with them and a duck tour, and the Museum of Science was fun. So it, getting to like spend time with athletes, be part of it, be in the same race as theirs. I didn't get to see them at the in the athletes village or anything, but like spend time with them and spend time with my kids. And I did dinner with one of my athletes after the race, and they had 2 kids, and like all 4 of the girls were like hanging out and running around and getting ice cream and like dancing in the streets. And I'm like, this is like a cool experience, that I get to do just because I run or because I coach or because I'm a dad. So for me, there was so much joy in this to have all these different, parts of my life kind of combined at one experience. And I wouldn't trade it. Like I wouldn't not. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Is a better way of saying what I was going to say. It was lovely.
Couldn't have said it better myself because it was about you.
Well, thanks.
All right, Coach Nick. Is that all we got today?
That's all I got.
That's all I got. And we're back in the New York City groove. I'm just kidding. We're back in the Between Two Coaches groove. And we are looking forward to the episodes to come.
Yep.
Right? Right.
Got some
We'll figure
fun guests. We got some guests we're thinking of reaching out to. So if you have any guests you want, let us know. We have some fun episode topics. We got a lot of fun coming up.
um I like the way that sentence transitioned from we have guests lined up to we have guests we're thinking about to if you have a guest. No. Thank you all so much for being here, for listening. Give us a follow, subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not already there, because if it wasn't bad enough for you to listen to us on your run, you can watch us while you're cooking dinner. And I think
True.
that's a fine idea. So do that, rate and review the podcast. Give us a follow on Patreon. We're over on Patreon. We'll be loading some new content over there soon.
Yep.
And as always, feel free to reach out to us at any time between two coaches at gmail.com or on our Instagrams. And we'll see you next time, friends.
Bye.